They are assembling at the White House. It's pretty amazing to see, too, the imagery. The U.S. flag. It's not so unique to see a U.S. flag with the UAE or Bahrain because of our longstanding relationship, but with the Israeli flag and the Star of David in the middle, with not just two peace accords being signed, one with the United Arab Emirates, one with Bahrain, but also a trilateral agreement between Israel, Bahrain, and the UAE on how they'll be working together.
Here's what's going to happen. So the White House is announcing that the agreement has been made. They're going to have complete diplomatic relationships, which means embassies. So, of course, Israel's embassy headquarters now for the United States is Jerusalem. You have the joint economic impact, and as Jordan said, the economies these are the strongest economies. Flight cooperation, not just cooperation. They're establishing flights between Tel Aviv and the UAE, Tel Aviv and Bahrain, and that will increase tourism, which increase also people getting to know each other, which impacts how people get along. Saudi Arabia is allowing flyover rights, which is significant also. But this is no small accomplishment. This is a huge accomplishment. I think it's the most significant accomplishment in the Middle East in our lifetime because it's multilateral. It's trilateral, and it's, as Jordan said, it's really more than even trilateral.
You know, Jay, from a historical point of view, I think it's important. As a historian, I look and I see, what did they call this? They called it the Abraham Accords. Yeah. Why did they call it the Abraham Accords? Because Abraham is the common father of the whole region, the common father of the Arabs, of the Israelis, of the Jews. The common father is finally bringing them together under the banner and at the impetus of the President of the United States. So what this does is not only does it bring them together diplomatically in terms of flights, investment, tourism, security, telecommunications, technology, energy, healthcare, culture, the environment, embassies, finally the normalization of relations between countries that at root and at stake are really, historically, Jay, brothers.
Yes, right. This sends a message to the Palestinian Authority to get with the program.
Yeah.
And the Israelis are ready to make the Palestinian people to reach their full potential. It's been the leadership of the Palestinian Authority that has stopped that. And now you've got Bahrain, the United Arab Emirates, and it looks like Oman next, coming together saying we are not only going to allow these diplomatic relationships, as Jordan said earlier, we're recognizing Israel's right to exist. Look at this. For those who are watching on Facebook or Periscope or any other social media platform, look at that. Who would have, I got chills looking at that. Who would have ever thought we would see that?
I just quickly want people to zoom out and think back 4 years ago. We were coming off the Iran deal where we were emboldening Iran. We had just abandoned Israel at the United Nations Security Council. This administration, of course, Jay, came in and directed the State Department to reverse both of those. We left the Iran deal. We set in proper place our policy at the United Nations Security Council. We then quickly moved our embassy. But, Jay, when you turn that strategy on its head from the top down, you're not going to try to cozy up to your enemies and abandon your allies. You're going to get closer to your allies, and you're going to isolate Iran and Palestine. This is what you get. The rest of the region sees it just the way Jordan laid it out. Their economic interests, their peace interests now align with the United States. So when you get the leadership from the top down, you might have problems within the bureaucracy. Jay, they don't have any choice. They follow the directions of the commander-in-chief.
The reality is that days like today do not happen without an outsider perspective. The Washington, D.C. establishment has tried to do the same types of political discussions for decades, whether it's with Kosovo, Serbia, or Arab-Israeli peace, or whatever the issue. We need an outsider perspective to shake up Washington, D.C. and their stoic way of thinking. I can't think of a better outcome than what we're witnessing today. And it's because Donald Trump and Jared Kushner and Avi Berkowitz all think differently. And they look at the situation and they talk to people that really were skeptical for a long time about America's role. And they see, look, the reality is that this would not have happened if we had continued in the JCPOA. If we had continued in the Iran deal and sent a terrible message to the Middle East that we were going to somehow get on a path, a weak path that we all know will give Iran a nuclear weapon. When Donald Trump said, no, I don't care what the Europeans say, I don't care what the UN says, our goal is to deny Iran a nuclear weapon, and we're going to work hard through sanctions to make that happen. When that decision was made, it sent a powerful message to the Emiratis and the Bahrainis and all of the Sunni governments to say, well, here is an American government that is doing something different, standing with us, and clearly standing against the problem country in the region. It would not have happened if we listened to the Europeans. The Europeans did not want us to get out of the JCPOA. They want us to continue down these paths where consensus is the ultimate goal.
And you see the flags of the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain and the United States and the Star of David, of course, and the flag of the State of Israel. And you say to yourself, has this happened after we pulled out of the Iranian nuclear arms deal, where John Kerry, Jordan, said Israel will be isolated forever. And then when the United States moved its embassy to Jerusalem, that was going to be the end.
Yes. Oh, yes. There was prophet of doom, the end of the Israeli state. And this is something that I think we need to also emphasize, the fact that we have seen leadership on the part of President Trump. The president said, we're abandoning this ridiculous Iranian deal. We are moving our embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, and we're going to do this thing, and we're going to press forward and normalize relations between these countries. And I don't think any of this could have been done without the leadership of Donald Trump, and we've got to admit that.